Hey everyone, welcome into the VerdeVUE Podcast, an Austin FC podcast brought to you by KVUE, the ABC affiliate in Austin, Texas. I'm Jake Garcia, sports reporter, weekend anchor. I'm joined by Brittany Flowers, cultural reporter. We are without Paul Livingood, who is still serving his red card suspension. It's weird. This red card situation has lasted a little bit longer than we thought, but the show must go on. Brittany, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. Excited for what's to come a little bit later in this podcast. Somebody we've been wanting to talk to for a while. But yeah, I'm having a great day. A little bit nervous to talk about what we just saw this past weekend.
Yeah.
So
it wasn't good. As you mentioned later on in this podcast, we're going to be talking to Austin FC defender Matt Besler for the first time this season. And honestly, Brittany, it was Besler's defense and the defense of the guys right next to him that kind of led to Austin FC's downfall.
This last coming game. In hot, Jake.
You know, they pay me to tell the truth, and this is the truth. Austin FC lost to Dallas last time out 5-3. The 5 goals were, what sunk Austin FC in this last game. Brittany, what did you see, and why was it the worst defensive performance we've seen from Austin FC this season?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so after the game, I was talking to my friends, and it was a Sunday, and they were playing like it was a Sunday afternoon, Dallas came out to play. They came out, we made mistakes, and unfortunately, they capitalized on the mistakes. Austin FC was punished for the mistakes that they made. 3 goals in 4 minutes is insanity. You don't usually see that. People say there's not a lot of goals in soccer. Well, there's not usually that many in that amount of time. They were off. We didn't see the creativity that we saw the week before. They looked a little bit slow. They weren't playing as quickly as they were the week before, because we know that they can do it. We've seen them, work with the ball, keep the ball quickly, 1-2 touch multiple times before, but this game was rough, and Dallas really, they put away their opportunities, which doesn't always happen. Sometimes you make a lot of mistakes and the other team misses or something happens, but not this time. Second half was better. We scored some good goals.
Yep.
So those are the positives. Scored some good goals, and the second half was a little bit better. That first half, though, they dug a hole that they couldn't get out of. I think that when you go down, 4-1 at half, I think you play a little bit different in the second half. You're like, all right, whatever. We're just go for it now. So maybe a little, not that there's less pressure, but kind of. What did you see, Jake?
I thought Josh Wolf said it best. I'm going to read you his direct quote that he gave us after the game. For about 7 minutes there, the willingness to compete evaporated. Dang. Wow. When a coach says that, that's going in on your team. It's also part of the job of a head coach is to get your team ready to compete. And I'm not saying Josh Wolf, blamed other people, because he definitely shouldered some of the blame, but everyone from coaching staff to players, you can't have just like a mid-match meltdown where the willingness to compete evaporates. Like, that should be a given every single match. And it's what costs Austin in this one. As you mentioned, every single one of Dallas's 5 goals came on an Austin FC mistake. The first one was especially egregious. It was Julio Cascante and Stuver in the back end. Just, you can't make passes like that. And especially when a team like Dallas is going to be in your face, full field pressing, and the hustle there for Dallas is what gave them that first goal. There were some, the second goal, I want to say, was just a lot of spectating in the box and not a lot of let's get the ball away. The third goal came from John Komanich, literally just letting the guy, I can't remember who was it who had the ball, but whoever it was, push deep into the box area. And it's like, at a certain point, you got to stop giving ground and you have to address the ball and make him make a decision. Because when you're able to just dribble that freely into a box, it's hard to make good things happen if you're the defense. And then from there, the wheels just kind of fell off. And yeah, I think it's safe in saying that it was the worst defensive performance we've seen all season. And that's not to, take away credit from what Dallas did. There's always two sides to this. And if you're going to make mistakes, there needs to be a team on the other end that's going to make you pay for your mistakes. And that's what Dallas did. Ricardo Pepi, oh my gosh, like that dude had a week, because not only did he have 2 goals in this game, he had recently been selected to participate with the U.S. men's national team and help them out in their World Cup qualifying tour. And also, he had just gotten off the heels of playing in the MLS All-Star game, making the game-winning penalty kick in that one. So, like, this guy's 18 years old, and he just had a week that is probably, the biggest of his career. What'd you see from him? Because, I mean, he opened my eyes. That dude's a prolific scorer.
I mean, like I said, it's not, we've said this and we've seen it, obviously. It's not easy to score goals in soccer. It's difficult, and they just did a good job of actually scoring goals. For me, it felt like watching training when you do drills that are like made for the offense, and like there's a lot of goals in a short amount of time, because there should be, like, that's what it felt like. And I mean, you touched on it. We gave them a lot of space, way too much space. And I've told this to our teammates on ABCFC, that anybody is good if you give them enough space. You need to shut them down. I mean, they proved that to us. They shut us down. They were putting pressure on us really fast. Not that you can't work out of that pressure. I think we've proven that we have the ability to do that, but we were a little bit slow. We were pretty slow on that. The other thing is I don't think that it's Coach Wolf's job to coach effort. I think that the effort just should be there. As a player, I think there's nothing more frustrating to me than people who are not even putting in effort. That's the only time when I'll like actually get upset on the field, is if somebody's not even trying. If you're really trying, then okay, then that sucks if you're just kind of making small mistakes. But it felt, I don't know, it just didn't feel like the effort was in the first half. Second half felt a lot better. And I wonder what the locker room was like after. Like, I wonder what training was like. And also, I mean, I'm excited to kind of see what this weekend has. I think that when you lose, especially when you lose that badly, the good thing is you can learn from it, and you can learn from your mistakes. And they had enough mistakes, and they got scored on enough times to learn a lot in that one game.
Austin FC this season has had a really difficult time sustaining momentum and building off of performances that I think a lot of fans hope is them turning the page and, taking the leap. And so just like after their last win, they followed their last win up with a disappointing loss. And that same thing happened this time. They're coming off an impressive win against Portland, and they kind of fall flat against Dallas. What do you think it's going to take for the switch to, really snap long-term, and for these performances to not just be like these one-off instances?
Yeah.
What do you think
like a roller
take
coaster.
Consistency? Yeah.
I don't even know. Cause I thought Sebastian coming in, I was like, oh, this is the guy that's changing everything. Everybody was more creative, playing quicker. And then this happened. I mean, I went in to the game Sunday, like I was so excited coming off of what we just came off of. And I was like, oh, I can't wait to see how creative they are today. And I thought that would be what changed it. I don't know. I don't know if it's an attitude thing. I don't know if it's a making sure they're listening in the training thing. Like, I have no idea. I don't know if it's a make sure we don't play like it is a Sunday afternoon, even though it is a Sunday afternoon. One thing that we didn't talk about yet, we saw Moussa.
Sure did.
He didn't touch the ball for the first few minutes that he was in. Had a couple of heavy touches, but I hope that he gets a little bit more time so that, I mean, I feel like it's hard to come into a game with 10 minutes left because you don't really have like maybe the flow of the game. But yeah, we saw him. So that was exciting. What did you think of him?
Well, really quick, today is Wednesday, September 1st, which also means that this is the day that Josh Wolf is addressing the media, and Moussa Djitte will be addressing the media today for the first time. So it'll be interesting to see just, you know, how he's been acclimating to this entire process of coming to a new country, playing in a new league, getting to know a new team. I think next game against Vancouver is kind of when the training wheels should be expected to come off, and he'll probably get his first start. It'll be interesting to see how Josh Wolf, you know, puts all the pieces to the puzzle together with both him and Sebastian Driussi now ready to go at full speed. I think it would be dumb to expect like everything to click instantaneously, but I think there's no doubt at all that the two of those players bring a level of creativity that we haven't seen up until this point. And like Driussi's look great. I think the jury's still out on Djitte. It's too early to tell what exactly he's going to bring, but man, Driussi is the real deal.
I know. I love it so much.
He opens things up and he plays with just like a vision of the field that Alex Ring plays on the defensive side and Driussi brings to the attack. Speaking of Alex Ring, because I did want to touch on this, second game in a row against FC Dallas to where the formation that Josh Wolf has trotted out there has kind of raised some eyebrows. The first one I think was a little bit more egregious in that he didn't start any of the three designated players. This one was for the second game in a row. Alex Ring is more of a box-to-box midfielder and less of a, hey, I'm going to kind of run things defensively midfielder. Is that a winning proposition long-term? It helped them score goals against Portland. Against Dallas, I think he was like his presence or his lack of a presence on the defensive end was definitely felt. What do you think's more important, to have Alex Ring facilitating the attack and scoring goals, or to help out on the defensive side?
I mean, I think it's always dependent on who you're playing, what their style is. Cause sometimes I think Alex Ring is maybe a little bit too far back and it doesn't allow it's too much space between him and the players in front of him. And it doesn't allow them to maybe push up like they should. I mean, it depends on who you're playing. He scored a great goal.
Yeah, he did.
I will say he was up there, but I don't know. I mean, this is when I'm happy I'm not a soccer coach. I don't have to figure those things out. I don't have to figure out where people should be in their positions. It would be such a hard decision to make. Also, we saw Josh Wolf. He wore that same green polo. And I was like, he might not be wearing it again. Because I mean, we were like, dang, maybe it's the polo. It wasn't the polo. We've had two completely opposite performances with that green polo.
Yeah. I thought Chris Bills of the Striker made a really interesting point. And I was like, dang, that's pretty true. He said you could legitimately make the case that Alex Ring is Austin FC's best player at three different positions. Box to box midfielder, more of a defensive midfielder. And then he was like, this one might be more of a stretch, but it also is probably true. Like, he could be their best center back as well. And the problem is you only have one Alex Ring and you need two other people to fill those other two positions.
I think Sebastian helps a lot, having Sebastian in there. I think helps. Now, okay, if Moussa comes in, are you dropping Diego back into that center midfielder role, or are you putting Moussa in and taking Gallagher out? What decision are you making, Jake?
Man, I don't know.
Because
Probably dropping Diego back.
I love to watch Diego and Sebastian play. I feel like we talk about effort. Those two and Alex Ring, the effort that they give every single week is amazing. And I think maybe watching those three play together, and especially watching Sebastian and Diego play together, I think it's awesome. I think maybe that's the move I would make.
The guy who is impacted probably the most by this is Pochettino, who hasn't started the past 2 games. He started the past 2 games on the bench. And, that is quite telling when he's one of your highest paid players. He's a designated player. The expectation is that this guy is going to be a central component to your success. And there are just a lot of moving pieces right now. And at this point, he's been the odd man out. He was showing signs of life too. He was showing signs of taking the next step and turning the corner.
Eventually, right, not at first.
Right. Yeah.
Right after they announced Sebastian, then Tomas was he was working hard. I thought he came off the bench and played well. He added some creativity. There were some chances that were brought on because of him. We could, take Gallagher out, Moussa, Cecilio, Tomas, Diego, Sebastian, Alex.
Yeah.
Seems pretty good, but I thought he did good coming off the bench. So, but yeah, as a DP, you would expect them to be starting.
So Austin FC falling to Dallas in their last match, 5-3. It means that Austin FC is still stuck on those 19 points through 21 matches. That is good for last place in the Western Conference. It's a portion of their schedule that is winnable. And instead, it's been more of the inconsistency that we've seen all season long. We'll see if they're able to snap out of it and, get back in the win column against a Vancouver team that they will be playing this coming weekend. Before we dive into that, though, we're going to welcome in Austin FC defender Matt Besler for a very entertaining interview, one that starts off kind of on a sour note, but I promise you eventually we'll get fun. We are joined now by Austin FC defender Matt Besler. Matt, thanks so much for taking the time today to join us on the VerdeVUE Podcast.
You're welcome.
Hey, so we are coming off a game in which the defense allowed 5 goals. And I'm not trying to put you on the spot right now or, dive too deep into that performance. But as we look ahead to this next game against Vancouver, what, in your estimation, are the changes that you would hope to see the defense implement for this next match?
Yeah, giving up 5 goals is never a good thing. It's not a good recipe to win games, especially when you're at home. So that was disappointing for all of us, especially, me as a defender. I always take pride in, not allowing goals and giving our team a chance to win. So, I definitely walked away from that game, embarrassed to give up that many goals. And, but at the same time, you can't dwell on it. I think for the most part, our team has played pretty well defensively this season. And we've been solid in the back. But it was just one of those games where, we made a few mistakes. We weren't, as sharp as we typically are. And, you have to give credit to Dallas because they were able to be proactive and take advantage of those mistakes. And so we looked at it on film. We had a long meeting and, we very open, honest discussions about where the areas we need to improve are. And, we just got to move on. We got to continue to get better, and just looking forward to getting back out on the field against Vancouver.
Matt, for those who don't know, will you talk about your journey to Austin?
Sure. Yeah. So, where do you want me to start? How I decided
How
to
old
come
were you
here,
when you
or-
started playing soccer?
Okay, I'll go all the way back.
No,
That's
you
a
don't
lo-
have
that's
to.
that's a long, long way. Okay. I was born on February 11th, 1987.
All right. Great day.
Day two, I'm kidding. Yeah, so I was born and raised in Kansas City. Grew up playing a bunch of different sports. The landscape was much different than it is now. There were no academies, there were no there was club teams, but that was about it. So just very thankful that I got to play a bunch of different sports. And my goal was to play in college. That was kind of where it stopped. I wanted to get a college scholarship to be able to, go and get my education somewhere and get it partially paid for. So that was kind of what I envisioned doing, and that was what I was working towards in high school. And unfortunately, that dream came true for me. I went to the University of Notre Dame on a soccer scholarship, played there for 4 seasons. And after I was done playing, I had the opportunity to continue my soccer career, and I got drafted to Kansas City and played in Kansas City for 12 years. Made some great memories, had some success, was fortunate to be on some pretty good teams, have some, impressive teammates as well. But then, it was time to move on. And that's where I ended up, having to figure out what I wanted to do next. And so I assessed my options, and it became pretty clear that Austin was going to be the best fit for me. And honestly, it wasn't a very hard decision. Once I came here and visited, talked to Josh and Claudio, and, saw the city, saw the team. Yeah, I was sold very fast.
The first impression that a lot of Austin FC fans had of you was that I guess it was a promo shoot in your pickup truck where you were impersonating a McConaughey commercial. Brittany, do you remember that? Because that was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. And we'll get into rapid fire in a second. And in that rapid fire, Brittany's going to ask you to do a McConaughey impression, which you've clearly already mastered. Whose idea was that? Take us through the production that went into that shoot announcing that you were going to be playing for Austin FC. Was that all your idea, or was that the great people within the Austin FC marketing team?
So what happened with that was I was actually on vacation with some family and some friends. We were in Florida, and this was when everything was happening with the contract. And so I had finally decided that I was going to be, signing a free agent contract with Austin. All of this was happening in Florida. So I was, trying to fax over the contract and get it all signed. And it was honestly just like one night, I was kind of just sitting around with family and friends, and we were having some beers and just kind of trying to let everything sink in. And it's wow, I'm moving to Austin. And so we just started talking about having fun with it and just opening myself up to the experience. And that's what I kept saying. I was I've never been a free agent before. Let's have some fun. Why not? We're coming off this crazy 2020 year where I just felt like people needed something to laugh at, to be entertained with. And we kept talking about the McConaughey car commercials and just how ridiculous and funny and effective they were. And so it's why don't we do one of those? Let's make my own commercial and we'll do it. So we left Florida. I flew back to Kansas City, called one of my buddies who is extremely talented with that stuff. He brought his camera. We showed up in a high school parking lot, and I drove around for about an hour, and he got different shots. And, I did a couple of the voiceovers, and honestly, it wasn't that hard. And I think he nailed it. He has to be given credit for it because I think it was a great video.
You nailed it too, though, because I've always thought, and I know McConaughey is part owner of Austin FC, so I'm not trying to get in trouble here, but I've always thought that McConaughey is super good at like sounding super profound, but like actually not really saying anything. And you nailed that, because you were just like, you were so invested in it, and you took it so seriously. But I'm like, God, this is the funniest thing that I've ever seen, because it was pretty much a spoof of the entire his entire little brand that he operates under.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I honestly, I had fun making it, and it was fun to go into character. I mean, to talk like that, I don't know, it was a lot of fun, and some of the subtle details, like when he does the whole thing with his finger and all that stuff, it was just fun. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I love it so much. How's your baby?
Baby boy is doing well. He's 4 months old.
Is he talking a lot then?
No, he's not talking yet.
Not talking yet?
Oh,
He'll be babbling soon.
Yeah.
Oh, so you have 3 now, right?
Yeah, 3 kids.
How is that? They say there's a huge difference between 2 and 3.
For me, it's been a pretty big jump. Yes. My wife's actually doing really well. I would say she probably thinks going from 0 to 1 was the hardest. 1 to 2 was easy for both of us. And then from 2 to 3, it's been harder for me than her, I think. But she's a champion. So she's making it easy for all of us. And yeah, I mean, we're enjoying it. It's a good time. It's never easy to have a kid like away from family, away from your hometown when you've been there for so long. But the people here at Austin, they've been awesome. Just like so welcoming. They've made us feel very comfortable, and the whole process was super easy.
Matt, going back to your creative side here for a second, the other thing that we've noticed are your pregame outfits. You have, sections of the team, rocking their best suits, their best game day attire. And for you, it seems like every game day is Halloween. Can you take us through all of the different costumes that you've worn? I know Fratelli was one of them, and I'm blanking on a few of the others, but I know that the creative juices have definitely been flowing for you on game day.
To be honest, there's not a whole lot of rhyme or reason or thought that goes into them. But yeah, I think it's something to have fun with, and, to entertain the fans and my teammates. And I think there's a very fine line between like being serious for the game, but also like not taking yourself too seriously. If that makes sense. I think, I don't really spend a whole lot of time, and I don't want to focus on like my costume before the game, because it's really not that important. The game is what's important. But I do think there's something to be said, like, we work so hard all week, we're so focused, we put in like all of our effort, our time, we're so disciplined with everything. And once we arrive to the stadium, like all the work's done, and it's time to like relax and be confident and go out and perform. And so I think that, it certainly helps myself get into that frame of mind, but I also think it helps loosen up the locker room a bit. Walking in and, guys are like looking at me just laughing, like, who are you? Like, who are you this week? And it's kind of grown into a thing, I guess. I think the fans are enjoying it. I get a lot of messages on social media about, who I'm going to be next. And I'm certainly open to anything and everything. I'm taking ideas, but there's definitely been an Austin soccer flair to everything. I want to try and tap that local market. So Dylan Fratelli was the first one. He's a professional golfer, originally from South Africa, but he played and won a national championship for UT when he was playing college golf here, and he still currently lives in Austin. So that was the first one. The second one was Ted Lasso, kind of like a cult movie star guy. I believe it's on Apple TV, Ted Lasso. If you haven't seen it, highly recommend it. I've got a little connection with Jason Sudeikis. He's the actor who plays Ted Lasso. He's from Kansas City originally. So we've done some charity things together. We actually shared the same high school basketball coach too. which Ted Lasso is modeled after. And so a lot of the sayings in that show come from our high school basketball coach, Donnie Campbell. So again, just kind of that connection. And then most recently I dressed up. I was all white, felt like I was going to Wimbledon. I was dressing up as Andy Roddick, who is another local Austin celebrity, former professional tennis player. And that's it.
I love it.
I love the subtle connections that all of them have, either to your upbringing or to Austin. That's really, really cool.
Thank you.
Will you talk about what it's like to play at Q2? Because it feels amazing as fans.
Yeah.
But I imagine it's so much more amazing on the field.
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, I was talking to somebody a couple of weeks ago, and I was trying to explain kind of the expectations that I had. I was coming from a place in Kansas City who they have a really good atmosphere too, and they're known as one of the most like difficult places to come in and play for away teams. And I'd seen the stadium, obviously, so I knew it was going to be a nice stadium, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be like a fun, electric atmosphere. Like the stadium and the atmosphere, those are two completely different things. And I figured it was going to be good, at least at the beginning, like, the first game for sure, because there's just so much hype. But I don't think anyone could have expected like for it to turn into what it is now. Like it's a special place to be. I mean, you don't have to be a soccer fan to go. You don't have to be a certain age. Like you literally can go, you show up and you have a good time. It doesn't matter where your seats are. There's not a bad seat in the house, which is great. But yeah, I mean, there's just a buzz. There's a buzz when you walk out onto the field, and for players, like it gives you that extra bit of adrenaline, and I think it makes a big difference.
It's such a special venue that both the men and women's national teams have already suited up and played there. And you obviously having connections to the U.S. men's national team. When they were in town, I saw you were at St. David's hanging out with some of the guys. What was that like, just to interact with them and be around a team that you've made, such significant contributions to in the past?
Yeah, I know it was fun to kind of to go back a little bit and, reminisce on some of the memories that I had with some of those guys with the national team, and kind of, put myself back in their shoes. And I remember what it was like for them, when they're playing a tournament like they were in the Gold Cup. You're kind of like bouncing around from city to city. You're sleeping in different hotel rooms. And so when they came here, I just wanted to make them feel welcome. But I wanted to show off the city too, because even though I haven't been here for very long, I think it's a special city. And, I wanted to brag about our facilities and Q2 Stadium. So I just wanted to try and, make them feel welcome. Gave them a few like recommendations on, going out to eat, spots to check out. But yeah, I mean, I certainly enjoyed them coming into town, watching the game, and, they ended up winning the Gold Cup tournament, which was awesome to see.
Let me know if you're ready, Jake.
I'm ready.
Matt, are you ready to do a rapid fire?
Yeah. What do I need to do? Just like answer it first thing that comes to mind?
Honestly, I'm just going to ask you questions and you just give whatever you got.
Okay.
None of them are ever rapid. Everybody goes, that's a good question. Let me think about it for a minute.
I mean, no, I can say, if we're trying to like stick to the rules, I can just say like one word answers. But
here's the rule. The rule is there are no rules. Whatever. If we start chatting about what you say, then we start chatting about what you say, which we do all the time. We'll go off in tangents.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's get into it. Question number 1. If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Flying. Always wanted to do that when I was a kid. Peter Pan.
Good. What's your favorite store?
HEB.
That's the second HEB we've gotten.
Yeah, great store.
Yeah, it's a great one. Who's the funniest person on the team?
Sebastian Berhalter.
Oh,
Okay. All right. You're a dad off the field, but on the field, who do you feel like you're the biggest father figure for?
John Gallagher. He's we went to the same college. He's quite a bit younger than I am, but I feel like I got to look out for him.
He's got like a lot of dad vibes to him, though.
yeah.
We
yeah.
interviewed him. Yeah, he like loves mowing the lawn.
Yeah,
and things like that.
I think that's why we have a father-son bond, is because we're actually locker mates. Our lockers are right next to each other, so each morning we come in and there's always like some sort of 5 or 10 minute conversation. And you know, he's curious. Like, his dad world has been opened up. He's asking me about like house stuff, mowing the yard. You know, he's engaged now, so he's asking me about wedding stuff. Like, very curious about the baby as well. So you know, I'm just trying to do my best, set him up for success.
When we interviewed him on this podcast, he could not stop talking about like the house he had just moved into and how he would much rather like spend time just like kind of being a dad and mowing the lawn than like going out and you know, exploring the city or being amongst the nightlife crowd. So he's definitely following in your footsteps for sure.
I love it. He's a great guy, and you know, it's a very slippery slope, so he's got to be careful for what he wishes for.
Yeah, seriously. Okay, what's the best dessert?
Cheesecake.
Ooh, any specific cheesecake or just plain with some strawberries on it?
Yep.
Okay.
Exactly. Plain, original cheesecake, a little bit of fruit on top.
When's the last time you took a selfie?
I have no idea.
Okay, I could guess that.
Dads don't take selfies. Remember that.
Yeah, come on. Like, I don't even like, what is this? I don't know how this works. What is this, a cell phone? Come on, I just got email. You know, I'm a dad. I just got email.
Okay. What should people get yellow and red cards for in real life?
Yellow and red cards for. Jeez. Red card should absolutely be the people that, when you're deboarding a plane, the people that stand up like right away and just wait, and you got to wait like 10 minutes and they're just like in the aisle. You can't get your bag. Like, you don't know what's going on. It just makes you like, gives you anxiety. Like, where does this person go? So, I mean, just sit in your seat until it's time to get up and walk off the plane. That should be red carded for those people.
This PSA brought to
yellow
you.
card.
By Matt. Keep going.
I don't know. That one's harder. Got to be like more subtle, you know, like, because it's just a caution. It's just kind of a warning. A red card's like, you're out. You do this, like, you shouldn't be allowed to fly.
Yeah, like, I feel like a yellow card is like, here's my pet peeve. Here's my simple pet peeve.
Yeah.
Okay, if you think of it, we'll go on to the next one. Okay, how do you like your steak?
Brittany, really quick. Do you remember that was literally my exact same answer when you asked me what would my red card be? Exact same thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, those people are the worst. And it's so funny because like, whenever I'm in an aisle seat, I will never stand up and I'll just stay seated there. And the people in the middle and by the window get so upset at me for doing that. And I'm like, You're not going anywhere anyway. So
yeah. I've got a yellow card. I'm gonna give a shout out to my wife too. Yellow card for us, I guess, is like, you've got your clothes, right? You got your closet, and then you know, for us, we've got like a little chair like in the corner of our room. Like, that's the chair for me to like put my clothes on that I'm not done wearing, but I'm not wearing them at the time, but I'm not ready to put them in the dirty laundry because like they're not quite dirty enough.
Yes.
Where it's like, I'm going to grab this t-shirt again, maybe like in the next couple of days. Like, I don't want to be done with it, but like, I'll walk back there and none of my clothes will be on that chair. They'll be in the dirty laundry. Like, my wife will like, think she's doing me a favor, which I love, I appreciate it. But it's like, I wasn't done with that. Like, I don't need to wash my clothes like every single time. Like I need a couple wears,
I'm the same way. I mean, because I like switch outfits many times throughout the day. So your yellow card goes to your wife for just being really, really nice and generous and helping you out. Got it.
Pretty much. That makes me sound like a terrible person.
No, it's okay. I mean,
I
you'll
want to
just
be
hear from
clear
her.
too, but like I don't want to go viral for this, like for the wrong reason. Like I'm not talking about like I'm going on a run or something and I come home and I've got like sweaty clothes that I'm talking like, you put on like a pair of shorts and you wear it to go play with your kids in the playroom for a couple hours. And it's like, I don't need to wash those shorts. I'm probably going to wear those tomorrow. So it's like, I don't want to put them all the way away. So I just put them on like the chair in the corner.
I have never related to you more than this moment right now. I'm the exact same way. Okay. Next question. How do you like your steak cooked?
Medium.
Okay. If you could have a non-player job for Austin FC, what would it be?
Non-player job?
Mm-hmm.
The MOC. I'm coming for McConaughey. That's what his title is, right?
Yeah.
No, I don't know. That's tough. I've actually thought about this a couple times because people always ask me like what I want to do when I'm done playing, and I don't know. It's almost like impossible to answer because you have to put all your time and effort like into being a professional soccer player. And that's the hardest thing. It's like, everyone says, the advice is you got to, start preparing for life off the field. But like, if you start doing that, your game is going to slip, like you're going to lose your edge. And like, there's such like small differences in keeping at a high level. Like it takes all the energy and all the concentration you have. And so I don't know. I guess I'm refusing to answer that question.
I was more asking like, if you sucked at soccer, but you also happen to love it, what's a job that you would want? Not what are you going to do in the future? Because I imagine you're going to play soccer for at least the next 100 years. That's what I would want for you. I mean, I'm going to throw this out there. I've seen some of your work when you were interviewing people. So if you ever want to start a show, you and me, Jake's not invited because he's not good at this TV stuff. Just kidding, Jake. You're very good at TV.
Wow.
I'm kidding. You're great.
How about this? I like dream job. It'd be awesome to be like a performer, like a country music star. You're going to play like sold out arenas.
Can you sing?
No, terrible.
They got auto tune.
I don't know how to play the guitar. So, but I mean, I just like.
You're on your way.
Yeah.
I love it.
You're a pretty big golfer though, right?
Yeah, when I can find the time. I enjoy playing golf a lot.
Well, great. My next question was, what do you do for fun?
For fun?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of family time. I mean, family is the most important thing for me. So, I've had to sacrifice a lot of my personal interests, when I was younger, playing golf or playing other sports, even watching sports. It's like right now, I don't have time for a lot of those things. And I'm okay with that though, because I would rather just spend time with my family and be entertaining. And we just do stuff like we just make up games. I mean, we just like scavenger hunts around the house and puppets. And I mean, it's each day is kind of different. And recently we've gotten into magic tricks. And so my kids think I'm a magician. They think like I'm a legit magician. I can actually take off my thumb here. Like if you,
oh my gosh.
So,
wow. That looked very painful.
Yeah. They're starting to catch on because they're freaked out at first. And then they're like, wait, where's the blood? There's no blood. And so they're very confused.
Yeah. Got to teach them about blood and stuff. So,
yeah.
Okay. What is your game day ritual?
I don't have any rituals anymore. I used to, but with 3 kids in the house, that's gone out the window. And honestly, I'm not superstitious. I don't have to like tie my shoe a certain way or like put on my right cleat before my left one. I kind of just go with the flow. So sorry, I don't got anything for you there.
I like that. What is your go-to dance move?
Go-to dance move?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know if I have one of those either. Yeah.
You're not a dancer?
I'm okay.
Okay. What is your go-to karaoke song?
Ooh. I'll go with Walking in Memphis.
Wow. That sounds really good. Have you performed it? Would you like to perform it now?
No, I've never performed karaoke.
Me neither.
Yeah.
People say it's fun, but
No,
it seems pretty
I would
scary to
enjoy
me.
it, I think. Yeah. Yeah, not in public.
Just at your house in front of your children, because they will support you no matter what.
Yeah.
Okay, Matt, last question. In your best Matthew McConaughey impression, will you please say, all right, all right, all right?
Sure. Okay. All right, all right, all right.
Ooh, is good. And have you heard Danny say it yet? Because Danny's very funny.
Which Danny? Pereira or Hosen?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Pereira? No, I haven't.
You should ask him. It's pretty good.
He's on the other side of me. So Gallagher's on one side, John Gallagher, and then Pereira's on the other. So we'll have to bring that up.
Yes, you should.
Was it good or bad? Did it have like a little Latin Venezuela?
Well, he put some twang on it, and that's what makes it so great. Like, he puts in the effort. It's pretty good. Brad said that yours was the best. We've had a couple of really good ones.
Okay. I like that.
Yours might be the best though.
Matt's the best at impersonating McConaughey in a car commercial. What cars does he advertise for? It's like Lincoln or Buick or something like that.
Yeah, it's Lincoln.
Yeah,
it's Lincoln. I'm waiting for the call up. Like, I feel like they need to throw a curveball in the next one and just have some like random guy like me just in the back seat. You know, they'll like scan back to the back seat and I'm just like sitting there and I think it'd be fun.
So many cars would be sold so quickly. That's all they need is to add you into it.
Real quick, I know that you probably might have to go, but he actually told me a great story about that commercial. When we finally met, we were talking about it a little bit, and you know, he was pitching this idea that he had for these Lincoln car commercials, and I think a lot of people probably thought it wasn't a great idea, and they were maybe making fun of it. But he said, you know what? I promise you, if we do this, like these commercials are going to end up getting parodied on Saturday Night Live. And they went out with it, and like within 2 weeks, like it was all over Saturday Night Live, and he was right. He's a genius.
Yes, he is. He's
Amazing.
a smart man. Hey, let me ask you one more question before we go. I've asked this to a couple people. Part of my goal with doing this podcast is to just spread the love of soccer. Will you talk about why soccer is the greatest sport in the world?
Wow, that's a tough question. That's definitely not rapid fire.
No, rapid fire ended with all right, all right, all right.
Okay. All right. Good to know. Yeah. I mean, for me, like, so just talking about the game itself, I just love the game because it's free flowing and it just forces you to make a decision like every second because, you know, your surroundings are changing and, you know, you're taking in like all this information, and I try to describe it in, you know, it's like a puzzle for me. And so like every couple seconds you're taking like little snapshots with what you see, and those are your pieces of the puzzle, and you've got to put it together real quick. And, you know, it's like what the score is and where's the ball and where's your teammates and where's, you know, where are you on the field? And then all of a sudden, like the play happens and you've just got to throw away the puzzle and you've got to start over again. And so like, it's all these like little details of the game and this information that you're trying to process at a very high speed. So like the people that always say like, oh, soccer's, you know, kind of slow for me, or like it's a little boring. There's not a lot of goals. I totally disagree, because as a player, when you're on the field, like to me, it's one of the fastest games because it's constantly changing and it's constantly like forcing you to make decisions. And I don't know, that's probably my favorite part about the game, actually, like on the field playing, is just being able to be free, and it challenges you to you know, process all that information like I talked about. Does that make sense? Maybe
100% yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Love that answer.
I do too. Thank you. Now everybody will fall in love with soccer.
That's right.
That's the goal. Matt, thank you so much. Jake, I don't know if you're done, but
I'm done.
that concludes all of my questions. You're so great,
right.
Matt. Thank you for doing this.
So we appreciate Austin FC defender Matt Besler taking time to join the VerdeVUE podcast. Brittany, this is a guy who is like played among the most minutes for Austin FC all year, and we're just now interviewing him on the podcast. It's been a long time coming, but definitely great to hear from Matt for the first time all year.
Not for lack of effort. We'd probably ask for him maybe every single week. We've always wanted to talk to him. He's always got something great to talk about ever since he had his baby. We were like, oh, we got to talk to him. Good guy. I like the dad vibes. I like there's a lot of them. Like Alex Ring, he was just talking about his wife and his kids. John doesn't have kids and he's not quite married yet, but he's total like dad. And then Matt, of course, I love it.
There's that section of the team. And then there's also the section of the team that is like years and years away from even thinking about that. Yeah. I mean, there are guys who are just turning 21 years old. Danny did the other week. So definitely an interesting mix of personalities. But you know, that's what you get in the MLS, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. I was surprised when he said that he feels like he's the most father figure to John, because I was like, John's should be a father figure to someone else. So yeah.
So moving forward now, Austin FC will take the pitch again on Saturday, September 4th in Vancouver. They'll be taking on the Whitecaps. It's the first time in Austin FC franchise history that they'll be playing outside of the United States. Mm-hmm. So going across the border to take on the Canadian-based Whitecaps. For Vancouver, it's interesting because this will actually be only their second game this season in which they're playing in Canada. Up until this point, they'd been playing in Salt Lake City because of COVID restrictions in Canada. And so now they're playing at home. And so it's kind of a new experience for them, taking a similar path that the Toronto Blue Jays did in Major League Baseball, playing a huge portion of the season not at home. This was a game actually that was supposed to happen a few months ago, and it got pushed back. Remember that?
Oh, this is the one. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I do remember that when that was changed. Hopefully the travel doesn't affect the team too much. I'm sure that they have had a rude awakening after the past week. And I mean, the last time they played Vancouver, it was honestly very disappointing.
It was. The last time they played Vancouver, Austin FC held the first half lead on an Alex Ring header in the first half, right? And then blew that lead, allowing Vancouver to score 2 unanswered goals in the second half. Things have also, like, that kind of kickstarted the Vancouver season. If you remember, tickets for that game were not exactly a hot commodity. In fact, like a few days before the game, they had dropped like all the way down to $30, which is among the lowest we've seen at Q2. And the reason for that was twofold. One of them was surging COVID numbers. And the other was, I think, people realizing this is a matchup between two teams that are not exactly playing well. Neither of them is within the playoff picture right now. So why would I spend money to go watch those teams play? I actually was in attendance for that game. That was the first game I watched as a fan. And I would go as far as saying it was a very enjoyable night despite the outcome. So Brittany, let's talk a little bit about Vancouver. They've turned their season around. They're unbeaten in their last 8 matches. They haven't lost since July 7th. This is a team that really kickstarted things into gear when they played Austin last. What do you remember about how they played and how Austin FC can attack them this weekend?
I mean, I remember our first half went good, in my opinion, and I felt like we fell asleep for our second half. It was the opposite of what we lost, or what we had this last weekend. They came out good. We saw Sebastian play, and I was like, oh, I am a big fan of him. And then that got better following, because everybody else just kind of followed him in like 1-2 touch, playing simple soccer, passing and moving, which I think is the best type of soccer. Second half, we just kind of, I don't know, we fell apart. I'm trying to remember when the last time we were like consistent between the first and the second half, because I think that's what we need right now, because soccer is not just one half. It is both. So I'm hoping that we see some of the creativity that we saw a couple weeks ago. I'm hoping that they learn from the mistakes. Maybe I'm sure that Vancouver is well aware of what Dallas did to us, and they're maybe going to try the same sort of thing. And hopefully we have learned from our mistakes, because here's the thing. If they're high pressing, if we can get out of that quickly, our transition will leave at least a few of their players, and then we're up with numbers. So I mean, we can do it, but we got to be quicker. We have to be more aware, and, traveling, I'm sure, doesn't help, but maybe, I mean, they won't have everybody, all of our fans just screaming at them and cheering, which I'm sure makes it way harder to play, because I think they love us.
Yeah, I would say so. We touched on this a little bit earlier in the earlier portion, but is this the game in your mind that Moussa Djitte starts and plays a full 90 minutes? Or at least the majority of the
90?
game?
I don't know. Like, isn't that why he hadn't played yet? It was because he wasn't game ready. I know that it was like COVID protocols before, and then he maybe wasn't game ready. We only saw him for 10 minutes in this last game. I want him to get more minutes in, because I want him to get acclimated to the game and get into the flow of the game and figure it out. Like Matt said, it's a puzzle that you're figuring out from moment to moment. It can be hard to be thrown into that puzzle when there's been 80 minutes of play already. Do I think he will start? Maybe not. I don't think he'll start, but I think maybe he'll come in earlier than he did last time. Maybe he'll do a little wake up, shake things up. Hopefully by then we've scored goals, plenty of goals by the time he comes in, and then he can come in and score more goals.
It's interesting because goals recently have actually not been the problem for this club. They've scored a goal in 3 straight matches, which is tied for their longest streak of the season.
Yeah, remember when we were going, will we ever score again?
Yeah. Now the question is, can the defense not allow 5 goals again? Because that's what really sunk Austin FC last time out. They'll definitely be looking for a bounce back performance from the defense. Last time out against FC Dallas, it was such like, we've used the analogy of a roller coaster a lot, but like, it was a roller coaster of a game for pretty much everyone on that back defensive line, because you had Cascante kind of being among the people to blame for that first goal. And then he immediately responds with a goal of his own.
Right.
The guy who passed him the ball, Komanic, a beautiful cross.
Yeah.
Just like, that's exactly what Josh Wolf is looking for when he talks about that left foot of his. But then the third goal that FC Dallas scored was pretty much on Komanic. And the two of them then got benched after halftime.
Right.
So the highs were really high and the lows were really low. And it would be nice to see consistency. Both on an individual level and on a team level, because as we mentioned, like, Austin FC is yet to really sustain success game after game and build on performances. It's kind of felt like 1 step forward, 2 steps back, and then another half step back, and then a step forward, and then more steps. It's just been really tough for this team to continue to build upon the momentum that they've generated. So we'll see. Maybe Vancouver provides them the opportunity that they need to do just that. I don't think it's going to be a situation where they roll into the game thinking that, Vancouver's not inside the playoff picture. This is going to be a cakewalk, because Vancouver has been playing really well and beat Austin last time out. With that, any final thoughts as we wrap up this edition of VerdeVUE?
No, I was going to ask you how at ABCFC. Do you want to update them on this past game? I missed the game. I missed it. But do you want to tell everybody how it went?
I mean, I'd rather not, just because
You want people to come out? Nobody's coming out. It's too far of a drive.
it wasn't a great effort. Well, the effort was there. The performance was not. We were overmatched. Like, there's no way around it. And when we're without our lifeblood, which is you, it's hardly like I went into the game expecting great things. And the performance kind of reflected that. So
maybe we'll just follow Austin FC, and like, if they win, then we'll win. And if they lose really badly, then we lose really badly.
We have a winnable game coming up next. And just like Austin FC, we are right on the bubble of the playoff picture and trying to, take advantage of the easiest part of our schedule. So that'll be really important this week. Will you be back? Will you be making your return?
I will be back.
All right. We look forward to it.
Yes.
With that, we thank all of you for watching this edition of the VerdeVUE Podcast. Another two-man / woman show this week. I'm not Paul Livingood, despite my name reflecting the fact that
I don't think that shows when you clip it.
Oh, I thought it did. Maybe it doesn't. Anyways, thanks so much for watching this episode of the Austin FC podcast. You can find all your Austin FC content at kvue.com/AustinFC, or by texting the word soccer to a phone number I have memorized. It's 512-459-9442. You can also text the word soccer to Brittany Flowers' personal cell phone number,
which I have memorized, which is
bleep, 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 bleep.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And she will respond with the word yes.
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
So with that, we will see you guys out at, just kidding. Tune in to KVUE at 10 on Saturday night for all your post-game Austin FC coverage. We will not be making the trip to Vancouver, but we hope that some of you can find it within your budget and time constraints to make it happen. With that, we'll give you the good old-fashioned John Gallagher thumbs up, and we'll see you next week.